Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's see to relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah. Welcome to the Traffic Avenue.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Nashika Caesar.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
It's absolutely not true. We don't use land guards. We use the official security forces services to reclaim government land, if need be.
Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources makes a fresh statement before a parliamentary committee, denying an earlier statement he made before a similar committee that the ministry engages land guards for its work. Also, coming up, the LGBTQ bill, that is, if it becomes law, will take Ghana to the fictional era of George Orwell's 1984, where the government will be spying on people in their bedrooms.
If you want another bedroom. That is why when the bill came up first, I said, look, what we are trying to do is to get the state to start looking into the bedroom of people. We are creating a police state.
A George Orwell kind of thing.
1984. So
that's Alhaji Nusa Hussaini. He's a former member of parliament for Tamale Central. He thinks the bill, and the law for that matter, is unnecessary. We'll be hearing from proponents of the bill tonight on Eyewitness News. And later, two big deals from the courts. In the Supreme Court, the House of Parliament is allowed to continue with this particular bill. The injunction application that was filed against it has been thrown out by the Supreme Court. And in the High Court, James Jachikwesin to continue to go to court every day, as had been earlier decided, because the Court of Appeal has said there's nothing wrong with that. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. There would also be business.
Energy analyst Benjamin Insia calls on government to review downwards its projected benchmark for crude oil price ahead of the mid-year budget review.
That's in 15 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. We are across the globe on citynewsroom.com. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on DSTV. And we are interactive. The show is interactive on WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. Send tweets using the hashtag City Newsroom. Tweet at Umaru Sanda or at City973. And the world will hear what do you think. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And the first one has to do with the Lands Ministry. Now, the Chief Director of the Lands Ministry had made a statement a few days ago to the Committee of Parliament, which committee has been conducting an exercise. He is alleged, because our committee meeting was not recorded by journalists, but we've seen an audio going around, that he said that there were land guards being contracted by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And the name of Clemens Jato was mentioned, of Enoch Holdings. Over the past few days, there's been back and forth on that matter. Today, the Chief Director, Professor Patrick Agbesinyale, was before the Public Accounts Committee, and he was asked to clarify his position on that subject. Let's listen to him.
Thank you, Chairman. Chief Director, we are all over in the news about you saying that the government uses land guards to protect its land. Now that you are here, the whole Ghana is listening. Can you really answer to that? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I take a very strong exception to that reportage, actually. It amounts to saying that Chief Director is practicing LBGQ, RSTU, or something like that. It's absolutely not true. We don't use land guards. We use the official security forces services to reclaim government land, if need be. Beyond that, please, no comment.
Yes. Yes, so Chairman, I want to get clarification. He said the news out there is that you said something. You're saying that you haven't said it. What did you say that they misinterpreted?
What exactly I said was that the ministry since 2012 had contracted a company called Enoch Holdings. And this company actually is engaged in reclaiming land for government. So I think the ministry or the Lands Commission actually reserve the right to use all kinds of, agencies.
Are you saying that they can use land guards, all sorts of? That's what you're saying. Are you saying that they can use land guards?
I said agencies. Land guard, I think land guard, Raja, unfortunately, is a terminology that all of us want to, don't want to be associated with. I think we know what land guards are. They are illegal entities, ragtag illegal entities that operate and involved in all kinds of criminal activities. I can't imagine me saying that government uses land guards, to reclaim land. That cannot be possible.
Chief Director, who is a land guard?
I don't know. With the deepest respect, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what.
You are using land guard. We all know land guard. So I'm asking you, define landguard. We say, so let me find out this way. Yes. If you have a parcel of land and you use an agency to guard that land, is that agency not land guard?
Registered land guard.
You are using an agency to guard, protect the land. Is that agency not guarding the land, so become a land guard? The chairman is about to say that the police who give us security in reclaiming and protecting government land could be referred to as a land guard. Yes, of course. Once they are guarding the land, they are land guard. The difference here is that these are people are lawfully given power to do that. Those illegal ones are the ones you are referring to. So anybody guarding land is a land guard. But those ones that we are talking about now are the illegal ones. You know the connotation attached to the concept or the terminology, the nomenclature of land guards. And all of us in Ghana, just like we say Galamsey. Once we mention Galamsey, everybody knows that it's illegal mining. You know, if you mention land guard within the context of Ghana, we all know what it means. So I think that is what we are trying to cure. So we cannot attribute that to our respectable, security agencies. It's unfair. And I personally take a very strong exception to that because I never mentioned this term land guard in my submission to the committee. I never. All right. I just want to let the public know that when the term land guards are used, that term, everybody understood it to be the illegal ones. But I'm saying that there could be people who have the legal backing to do that job, like the police who can protect a piece of land, a parcel of land. That could not be understood to be those illegal ones that everybody understands. Yes.
Chairman, I know the Forest Commission, they have forest guards. So what has happened to those forest guards?
The chairman, the forest guards have been there since colonial days, and their duty is to protect the integrity of our forest and wildlife, actually.
That's Professor Patrick Agbeshinyale. He is the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, speaking before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament today. The man who has actually brought this issue to prominence is a member of Parliament for Tamale North. He was at that committee where the Chief Director first made the statement. His name is Honorable Alhassan Suhini. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, my brother Umar. Good evening and good evening to your listeners.
Good evening. What the Chief Director has said tonight does not appear to be the same as what he was quoted in the earlier reportage as having said. He has simply said they are not contracting a land guard, but they have an agency that they are working with. As someone who has been interested in getting to the bottom of this matter, what do you make of the new submission by the Chief Director?
I think that every time information comes out from the ministry, it leaves one with many more questions. There has been many attempts to reset this whole conversation. But once again, respectfully, like I have said, every time an attempt has been made to reset this conversation, I refuse to, change the conversation from what the conversation is all about. First of all, I wonder why this matter at the ministry is left only for the Chief Director of the ministry. The ministry is bigger than just the Chief Director. And sometimes you wonder if perhaps it is left for him to carry, because the impression around the ministry is that now you go cause your troubles, so carry on. Because no one was supposed to talk about it the way you have spoken about it. You see, Sandra, in the earlier discussion, I never anywhere said that he, the chief director, categorically said the ministry had a relationship with a landlord. What I have said, backed with audio tape, is that he said that the ministry has a contract with one Jato. One Jato. That's what he said, and I have repeated that backed with audio. Again, he said that even the military and the police depend on this one Jato. Now you hear him at the Public Accounts Committee, and I am shocked that all of a sudden he's telling another parliamentary committee that is the state security they depend on. You heard him. I mean, he's a professor, for God's sake, older than me. But the inconsistencies just become too many. At the Committee of Lands and Forestry, the contract was with one Jato. The voice, the audio is out there. The military and the police, according to him, even depend on this one Jato. Now, before the Public Accounts Committee, the ministry depends on state security. Seriously? But I said that this Jato is well known as a land guard in our community. And you can do a basic search on Jato on the internet. And all the stories you will find refer to him as a land guard. So nowhere and at no point in the discussion did I suggest that the chief director categorically said the ministry has entered into a relationship with a land guard. I quote what the chief director said, that is a contract with one Jato. And then I say that Jato is known as a land guard. He followed up with a press statement signed by he himself on 17th July. That's just this week. And replaces the name Jato now with Enoch Holdings Limited. Enoch Holdings Limited is the owner of Jato. I mean, it's owned by Jato. So if you want to be charitable, you can say he has been consistent. If you want to treat the two entities as the lawyers will want us to treat them as separate entities, you will say that's an inconsistency. But if you want to be charitable, you will say he has been consistent because he said before the committee that the contract was with Jato. And then in the press statement, he says it was with Enoch Holdings. So if I want to be charitable, I'll say that is consistent. But if I want to speak like the lawyers, I will say that is an inconsistency. But he repeated it again at the Public Accounts Committee, that this contract has been in existence since 2012. Umar, I have produced evidence that Enoch Holdings Limited was incorporated on 1st September 2014. 2014. So how could the ministry have been in a contract with a company 2 years before that company was incorporated? That can only be magical.
Now, the Public Accounts Committee typically doesn't deal with matters like this, and I have a feeling the question just came out because a member of the committee wanted clarification. But there's something that was flowing through the conversation. The fact that committee members appear to have agreed that the word land guard in itself is not a crime, and that if someone is a land guard, they are simply guarding their own land. What is wrong? And the chief director says that, yes, there are times that they contract agencies. He did not say, he says all manner of persons and agencies. That's a phrase he used, if I remember. What is wrong if the ministry uses an agency like he said? And we are told, I've seen Kwame Jan, the lawyer, respected lecturer in land law, being quoted as saying that there is absolutely nothing wrong with what the ministry has done, and that per the Act, the Land Act of 2020, there's nothing wrong. What is wrong if the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources contracts an agency to guard the state's land?
Now, Umaru, two things, or even more. Like Kwame Jan is someone I respect a lot. I think he knows his onions. But if I were in his shoes, I would not comment on this matter, because he may be conflicted at some point. And I'll just leave it at that, because this is an ongoing conversation. I'll leave it at that. But on the views that were expressed by some members of the committee, I have been educated to Sandra, that there may be only two entities given Act 999 that was passed to outlaw land guardism. There may be only two entities allowed by law to protect land in this country. And that is, one, a law firm with the authority of a court. A law firm with the authority of a court. And then the state security. These are the two entities I've been educated on by lawyers, because you know me, I'm not a lawyer. That given Section 7 of Act 999, the only entities that may be permitted to protect land in this country will be a law firm with the authority of a court ruling, or the state security. And that is why I keep asking the question, that how can a private entity be set up to engage in an activity that has been prescribed by law? It's like saying armed robbery is a crime, but if I set up a company legally to recruit people to do that, then I don't fall foul of the law. Land guardism, according to the Act, the Vigilantism and Other Offences Related Act, is a prescribed activity. Section 7.1, for the avoidance of doubt. A person shall not directly or indirectly facilitate, organize, or promote the organization of land guards for the purposes of protecting or guarding land or property, whether belonging to the person or any other person. So how do you set up a company? And your duty will be to be protecting and guarding land or property, whether belonging to you or belonging to other persons. And you call it legal because it is registered, it's a registered company. How does a company legally registered engage in an activity prescribed by law? I'm not a lawyer, but I'll need that education.
How do you think this is going to end? The man you were relying on for your statement, the chief director, has come to do a U-turn now. Does that end it, or you think there are more questions that have to be answered, and who has to answer those questions?
There are more questions that have to be answered. There are more questions that have to be answered. First of all, Maru, your own station did a story in 2019. And that story was based on a release, a press statement from the ministry, signed by ex-PRO, One Abraham. I don't know if you recall.
Abraham Otabel.
Abraham Otabel. And in that statement, the ministry made the point that they had no relationship with Jato or Enoch Holdings, for that matter. 2019, the same Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources issued a press statement disowning Jato and his company, and made the point that they had no contract or any arrangement with him, and he was not carrying out any reclamation or demolition exercise on their behalf. 2019. Yet the chief director wants us to believe that this relationship has been in existence since 2012, even though Enoch Holdings was formed in 2014. Obviously, we can't let that go without clarification. Secondly, the military has come out to say that the chief director might have misspoken and that they don't depend on Jato. The police have also said things. But their responses have also brought up another question that deserves an answer. Does Jato depend on them for his operation? Because there have been videos and evidence of Jato carrying out operations with people in military uniform and police uniform. So if the police and military say they don't depend on him to protect their own land, the other question we have to find an answer to is, does he depend on the military and the police in his operations? And what are the terms of that engagement with the police and the military when he's carrying out an exercise? What is the arrangement like? We need to find answers to that as well. And we have to find out, how come the ministry went into a contract with a company 2 years before it was formed? We need to get all of these answers. And most importantly, we need to get the contract that the ministry has with this man or his company, so that we can study the terms and conditions of that contract. To assure ourselves that the ministry is not promoting lawlessness.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Honorable. That's Honorable Hassan Suhini. He's Member of Parliament for Tamale North. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We've been trying to reach the Ministry of Land for comments officially on this matter in an interview format. We've not been successful. When we do hear from the ministry, we would share what they say with you. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll return with more. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is a bank, First Atlantic Bank. A shining purple star to brighten up my day. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different services all day long. First Atlantic Bank, and it feels so cool. I know this is where I belong. Come on, everybody, this is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank. Follow me, let's go now. Let's go, let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank.
First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different.
Arise, come and youth for your country.
management of the National Service Scheme has begun processing prospective service personnel for deployment for the 2023-2024 service year. This year's deployment is private sector driven. Private institutions are therefore encouraged to submit more requests for service personnel. Metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, ministries, departments and agencies, and all those interested in hosting service personnel in the 2023-2024 service year are also encouraged to put in formal requests to the Secretariat. The request must be submitted on official letterhead with official addresses, email, phone numbers, and location of the organizations. User agencies are to indicate the number of personnel required and specify the desired academic or professional qualifications. Agencies with special needs are advised to contact the NSS Secretariat for discussions. All requests must reach the National Service Secretariat before Friday, August 11, 2023. National Service, service to the nation.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later. Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack? There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Around Ghana, we are on a number of affiliate stations, including in the Upper West region on Tumpani Radio 88.5 FM in Nadoli. We are also on Jirapa FM 96.1 in Jirapa. We are in Upper East on Rikas 92.1 FM in Bongo Namu. We are in the Northern region on North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. We are in the Northeast region on Nobia 98.1 FM in Nalerigo. In the Western region, we are on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In the Ashanti region, we are on Focus 94.3 FM on the campus of the KNUST in Kumasi, and Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we are on Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala. We are on Holy 98.5 FM in Aflao. In the Savannah region on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's move to some other stories now. And the anti-LGBTQI plus bill is in Parliament. Is yet to be approved by Parliament, but it appears every member of the House agrees that there should be a law like that. If that bill is passed, it will be taken to the President, and if the President signs it, it becomes law. Someone who used to be a lawmaker and a lawyer and a former minister, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni, was on face-to-face on Citi TV with me last night. And I put a question to him about the LGBTQI plus bill and asked if he was in the chamber, how would he argue? He argues that the law he believes is unnecessary. Listen to him.
So first of all, when new global movements arrive, you must assess them on their merits. You don't just swallow global movements hook, line, and sinker. Okay. Now, even in those days where we had very small modicum of the rule of law, where before we were colonized, I mean, Africans were not killing those who killed others. Well, at West, they sold them into slavery. Okay? They compensated for persons who were killed with another person. They were not killing them. So the fact that I'm advocating for life imprisonment and not death sentence might, in some respects, be consistent with the way Africans have always lived together. 2, LGP is an attack on African traditions. Everybody or every people have the right to their own culture. It is a culture that defines you. You are who you are by reason of where you are from. am who I am by reason of where I am from. Diversity is what makes us human. Our difference should not divide us. Our difference in the sight of Allah should let us know each other. Now, as Africans, we have a culture, we have a tradition. It is, if you want, another form of colonialism or imperialism to try to impose on us a culture that is at variance with our own traditional culture. And that is why LGP is facing stiff opposition. We see it as a cultural recolonization, a cultural imposition, that this is not African. Well, if people I have said elsewhere, the LGP practices or unnatural carnal knowledge is an inherently private matter. It's an inherently private matter. There are many people who are heterosexuals, but they engage in LGBT or
LGBTQ plus.
We don't see, so they don't concern us.
So keep it in your bedroom.
In the four walls of a bedroom, we are not concerned with what goes on in the four walls of a bedroom. That is why when the bill came up first, I said, look, what we are trying to do is to get the states to start looking into the bedrooms of people. We are creating a police state.
A George Orwell kind of thing. 1984.
So your TV, when you are in the bed, in your room, when your TV is on, your TV might not only be showing you pictures, but might also be recording
and sending pictures.
Pictures.
So we shouldn't have a system where under apartheid they were looking through windows and plugging out people who. So what are you saying? That we should not have a law?
I do no. I mean, why will we spend state resources in prying into people's private affairs? It's already an offense.
So let's leave it.
It is not there. We don't recognize it.
So the bill.
So why don't we recognize it? If you come out openly and profess that you are
LGBTQ plus.
Well, I can't even pronounce it. Woman, you. But if you engage in it to the knowledge of the law enforcement agencies or responsible citizens, we will arrest you and send you to court. That's already a law.
So for you, the bill is unnecessary?
There's already a law dealing with that.
The bill is unnecessary.
And that is why those who are doing it in their private rooms, we don't arrest them.
The bill is unnecessary.
I think that the bill will introduce more problems for us
than what we currently have.
Because, Umar, they are saying that if you are in your house, you have a responsibility to ensure that your house people behave, what did they say, family, decent, or what?
Family values.
Well, in accordance with proper family values. And so they are constituting everybody into a watchman. So actually, we are back to 1984. Okay, George Orwell?
Yes.
Yes, we are back.
That's Alhaji Nusa Hussaini. He's a former member of parliament for Tamale Central, and he's a lawyer. His position there on the LGBTQI+ bill. Now, that bill was brought before the House of Parliament, not by the state or the government or the president, but by individual members of parliament, 8 of them. And that list includes the Honorable Roxy Nelson Echi Dapamakpo. He's joined us on the line. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Umaru, and good evening to your listener.
Good evening. Your senior in Parliament says what you're doing is unnecessary. You want us to simply waste state resources on spying on people in their bedrooms.
It's a very tragic view to take on this matter. And I say it's a very tragic view to take on this matter because my brother, he's demonstrated senior, my revered senior, I respect him, very deep knowledge in the law of parliamentary procedure. But on this one, he's demonstrated a certain limited understanding of what is happening with this LGBT matter. It's not correct to limit the discussions to LGBT activities in bedrooms and in-camera dealing. It has gone far beyond this. Umaru, when a group of LGBT practitioners goes to to sponsor a billboard to promote such an unlawful and illicit activity, it cannot be reduced to a bedroom logic and debate. When they decide to introduce literature to our children who are below 15, who are below 17, who are below 18, who are below 10 years, to be indoctrinated into this, it is no longer an in-camera or a bedroom activity. Umaru, when two men decide to celebrate a marriage between them, it is no longer a bedroom activity. When two women decide that they should be permitted under law to celebrate a marriage between them, it is no longer a bedroom matter. It is the polluting of our social fabric and our cultural values that we seek to protect. So this matter has gone beyond the bedroom debate and logic. These are people who are saying that they should be permitted under law to marry animals. That's their fundamental right. So,
but he says we already have a law that proscribes such an action. Why do we need a new law?
The law is limited in scope. It spoke to the limitation of the application of the law. In his disputation to the support for this bill, he is actually spoken eloquently to the limitation of the existing provision in Act 29. That is why police over the period have complained that in going after these sorts of offenses in the society, the application of the law stricto sensu is so limited in scope that they are unable to effect proper prosecution or successful prosecution. It is on these terms that 8 of us have seen the need to introduce this law to as it were, cover other aspects of this illicit cultural conduct and spread and promotion amongst our people.
Now, if this law passes, he worries that we would have the era of George Orwell's fictional 1984 period in play, where the government is essentially spying on you, where someone will be rewarded for coming to open your window and spy to see whether you are living in there with a woman or a man, if you are a man, and reporting you to the government for action. He fears that that's what this law is going to open the floodgates for.
Umaru, by way of answer to his query and concern, if under the same Act 29, I am enjoined as a citizen to report crime when it is about being committed, or when two persons are conspiring to commit a crime, or when after committing the crime the person is absconding from the scene of crime, is that a George Orwell's 1984 era? Of course not. So every law that prescribes a certain conduct and criminalizes a certain conduct in society, we are enjoined as citizens to ensure that persons do not engage in such prescribed and criminal conduct. A crime is a crime. He can decide not to pursue his civil responsibility of reporting a crime, but the law permits that you must report a crime when it's being committed, about to be committed, or it's being conspired to be committed. That is why we have offenses under our law in respect of abetment and conspiracy.
All right. Thank you for speaking to us. Honorable Roxy Nelson Tapamapo is one of the sponsors of the anti-LGBTQI bill currently before the House of Parliament. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let me bring some of your messages now. The messages you've been sending through. On the first topic we brought you, which has to do with the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands, Jonathan Dokino from Akachi in Akachi South, says this land commissions issue is becoming more interesting after listening to Honorable Suhini. For me, I think the Honorable Member should make an official complaint with the CID and also furnish same with the better particulars in his custody for the subsequent arrest of the Chief Director to assist with investigations. Alan Inchantanzim, this is pathetic, and more issues coming through. I'll bring them to you in the course of the show. But this is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about the judiciary now. And the Supreme Court has dismissed an application seeking to injunct the Speaker of Parliament from continuing with the consideration of the LGBTQI bill, which bill we just finished talking about. This follows an application to the Supreme Court seeking to declare that the ongoing consideration of the bill is a breach of Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution. Article 108 of the Constitution stipulates that no bill or motion shall be considered by Parliament if, in the opinion of the person presiding, the bill is to impose taxation, impose a charge on the consolidated fund or other public funds unless it is introduced by the President. It is a contention of the applicant that the bill considered in its entirety will impose a charge on the consolidated fund and offends the 1992 Constitution as it is a private member's bill. He thus applied to the High Court to injunct Parliament from further considering the bill until a final determination is made. The 9-member panel, presided over by the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, however, dismissed the injunction application. So the injunction is actually filed at the Supreme Court, not the High Court. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Bobo, so how's your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
Of course, a low burst line. A little tight by the hips. Covered sleeves. Off shoulder. Definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
Is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. Let's now do some other stories. The High Court in Kumasi has adjourned the injunction case filed by the Aquatia Line Wood Sellers Association over their eviction by the local assembly. The matter is to be heard on August 14, 2023. The Asokori Mampo Municipal Assembly has so far commenced construction work, leaving persons who work in the area stranded. Speaking to Citi News after court proceedings on Wednesday, the Secretary of the Wood Sellers Association, Mohammed Umar, called for justice to be served in the matter.
You know, our members, some of them, they have demolished their place. Some of us are there. Even yesterday, you have covered something. But you know, the case is in court, so we don't want to talk much on the case. Because if the case is in court, maybe you talk and you go and fumble.
But with those of your members whose areas have been affected, that's where the construction is going on, have they been relocated? What is the arrangement?
No, they have not. They are there hanging around. They have not given them any place. And we were hearing from people that the contractor have given them some place. We didn't see any place, so we can't talk about that.
So what do you want to be done?
We want justice to be done. We need justice to be done because we don't want any mayhem or hey. That's why we brought the case to the court, for the court to rule. and do justice. That's all.
The leadership of the group has described the decision by the authorities to redevelop the area as a deception. Emmanuel Owusu is the treasurer of the Akwatia Line Wood Sellers Association.
Even at all, it's a wood. We can't sell wood on the store, in the store. But if they develop as like how they develop it to the Sokoban people, it's better. But they are not developing that like how they develop to the Sokoban people. They are just building a store to hide to the people, and then the contractor will correct his money to his pocket. It's not for government. We are there. We pay municipal assembly, and then we are paying tax. Even at all, if we are going to like Sefi and then Sankwari and then other places to bring a goose, even at all, we pay VAT on the goose. So we pay taxes before we attend here, and then we are there to paying tax. I can deceive us like that. So if you want the time the government want to make a correct development, they can take us to some place and then develop that place. That's the word. Okay. Say your full name. My full name is Emmanuel Owusu, and then I'm the treasurer of the Wood Sellers Association. Thank you so much.
Moving on, the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat has attributed the failure to pay the stipends of students in Ukraine and other countries to the delay in the disbursement of funds to the Secretariat by the Finance Ministry. There have been heightened concerns by affected students abroad on the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat role, citing hardships due to the non-payment of their stipends. Speaking to Citi News, head of diaspora relations at the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, Richard Jemfi, sympathized with the students and further indicated that plans are underway to address their concerns in the nearest possible time.
First and foremost, we do sympathize students, all our beneficiary students across the globe. This is not a deliberate to stifle out the students from, their comfort of study. As the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, we receive money from the Ministry of Finance. And when that money is made available, we distribute it to all the institutions where our students are, and also give stipends. I must be honest that the fluidity of the money compared to years back hasn't been the same. And therefore, we are not only in arrears with students in Ukraine, we are in arrears with students in the UK, we are in arrears with students in Canada, America, and so on. And so the registrar and the management team are still pushing so that allocation will be made for us that could cover the tuition of the students and also the stipend.
Richard Jemfi is the head of diaspora relations at the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. Moving on, the Physician Assistants Association has threatened to embark on a series of industrial actions to register their displeasure towards some proposed legislations it fears will disempower its members. The decision, according to the group, follows an intercepted document on a planned amendment of Act 857 under the Health Professionals Bodies Act by the Ghana Medical and Dental Council to subject the profession of physician assistants to the direction and supervision of a medical doctor. Speaking to Citi News, the Eastern Regional Chairman of the Association, Apieje Boabin, called on relevant authorities to heed to their concerns by Monday, July 24.
We don't know how fast they want to rush the documents to Parliament. So by Monday, if we have not heard the minister and the persons responsible make categorical statements to that effect, and of course, it is not every statement they will make which we are going to believe, because they have deceived us for quite some time now. So we even have issues, with them. So if they make statements that we believe, followed by actions then of course we would have to advise ourselves. Otherwise, from Monday, we are holding on with OPD services. From Wednesday, we are withdrawing all our services. And don't forget, 111 districts in our country do not have doctors, do not have hospitals, and all health facilities in these districts are managed by physician assistants. So the implication on the health care security of our country will be very dire, and I think that somebody has to do something about it.
That was the Eastern Regional Chairman of the Ghana Physician Assistants Association, P.J. Boabin. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has discovered more than 4,000 substandard and unapproved meters during its zero revenue mobilization exercise. Concerns has been raised following a plan by the company to involve the private sector in the supply of meters. There are fears that a move would lead to an influx in inefficient meters to customers. The communications manager of ECG, Leila Abubakari, highlights potential dangers associated with the approach, but said a consideration can be given to the suggestion.
If we allow private people to start selling meters, what does that imply? It implies that people can go and buy meters that meet the standards set by the Standards Authority and install, even if they have an agreement with ECG to inform us on any of these installations. It might take a while before we would realize if a meter is defect. And so even though we are trying as much as possible to be open to certain solutions regarding meters, I wouldn't say that giving that authority to private people to vend meters is the best solution. During this particular process, this particular exercise that we are undergoing, which is the Operation Zero, we have already uncovered over 4,000 foreign meters in the system. It means these meters were, allowing people to use electricity, but weren't getting the money because we didn't even know they were in the system. We're also trying to avoid the issue of who takes the blame. If a meter is installed in someone's property that wasn't procured through the ECG and something happens, a fire, whatever it might be, who takes the blame? Is it a private person who takes the blame or is it ECG who takes the blame? We have to be able to think about all these things. We also know about people who have procured meters and have discarded them after the meters have accrued a lot of debt on them. I suspect this would continue. And if we don't have very honest people and very honest vendors, by the time we realize we might be in big trouble and we won't be able to revert the issues that would arise from allowing private people to vend. And that's the reason why PRC has insisted that the only people to put out meters in customers' facilities and buildings and wherever they might need them is the utility, so that we can take account and then be responsible for whatever happens to it.
That was ECG's communications manager, Leila Abubakari.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Nashika Caesar. The details. Ahead of the presentation of the mid-year review of the budget statement and supplementary estimate for the 2023 financial year to Parliament, an energy analyst, Benjamin Insia, is in person on the government to review downwards its projected benchmark for crude oil price. The government had earlier projected a benchmark oil price of $88.55 per barrel for 2023 at an upward of 52 million barrels. But in a Citi Business interview, Benjamin Insia said the government must peg the new figure at an appropriate level to properly align with international figures, revenue and expenditure.
Look
look at the first half of 2023, it is observed that price of crude has been stable around $75 per barrel. And from Energy Information Administration of USA, United States of America, projecting that in the second half of 2023, prices of crude oil, that's the Brent, will average $79 per barrel. Looking at these two indicators meant that our projected benchmark crude price of $88.55 per barrel will have a shortfall of about $9 per barrel. And I think that if we do not have a new projection, or if we do not reduce our anticipation of this particular market price, there will be a larger balance of trade deficit, whereby our projected revenue from abroad, including that of oil exports, against our projected imports from abroad will have a bigger gap. And also that also means that there's likely to also be a deficit in terms of our physical side, that is our expenditure against revenue expected from the upstream. So I'm just saying that in the supplementary budget, which will be read on 27th, I think that the Ministry of Finance should have a look at our projected benchmark price of crude oil of $88.55 to $79 per barrel.
Benjamin Nsia is an energy analyst. Moving on, recent data from the Ghana Statistical Service GSS has revealed that the producer price inflation PPI for the month of June 2023 fell marginally to 29.2% from the 30.3% recorded in May 2023. This represents a 1.1 percentage point decrease in producer inflation relative to the rate recorded in May 2023. However, the month-on-month change in the PPI between May 2023 and June 2023 was 0.6%. According to data from the GSS, the mining and quarrying, electricity and gas, transportation and storage and accommodation and food and services recorded a rate above the national average, while the information and communication activity recorded the lowest rate of 11.1% in June 2023. In the services sector, the rate decreased from 18.1% in May 2023 to 17.6% in June 2023. The construction sector also recorded a decrease from 20.0% in May 2023 to 19.3%. To some other news, Minister of Public Enterprises Joseph Kujo has indicated that a proposal to restructure the Ghana Cocoa Board has been laid before Parliament. The proposal recently submitted to Parliament aims to revamp Cocoa Board's operations and financial performance over the next 3 years. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, the minister indicated that a restructuring would bring a more robust financial oversight mechanism by involving the Minister of Finance in addition to the Minister of Agriculture.
These challenges you have highlighted has caused Cocoa Board to reflect on its own operations and how it's oversighting the cocoa industry. So even up to last week, I am aware of a cabinet proposal, a proposal that was submitted to cabinet for approval to restructure Cocoa Board and the role it plays to do its work. So that has done, and that will turn Cocoa Board into financial viability of its operations in 3 years, which is very, very good proposal, as has been approved by cabinet. The law itself, where elements of it have been highlighted, like the ministerial oversight of Cocoa Board and the Ministry of Agric and Ministry of Finance has a role to play in making sure that the financial operations, the financial performance of the board is also brought to focus. And these issues dealt with because under Ministry of Agric alone, the financial oversight becomes a bit weakened. And so that is part of the proposal.
You heard Minister of Public Enterprises Joseph Kujo. Away from that, Republic Bank PLC remains resolute to employ various strategies aimed at mitigating risk in its operations. It comes on the back of the bank recording a 20.5% year-on-year growth in assets from 4.25 billion in 2021 to 10 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. However, the bank also recorded a total comprehensive loss of 22.69 million for the year ending 2022 due to the domestic debt exchange program. Managing Director of Republic Bank Ghana PLC Benjamin Jobuku has been speaking to the media on the sidelines of its annual general meeting.
If you look at the annual statement, the provision that we made as a result of the DDEP was about 167 million, and would have made a lot of profit for 2022. So that actually affected our inability to pay the dividend that we're supposed to pay to our shareholders. And we believe that 2024, 2025, we should pay dividend to our shareholders. If you look at the economic fundamentals for 2022, inflation increased to about 54%. And then the exchange rate volatility. We had some exposures in foreign currency. And because of the volatility, we decided to convert most of this foreign currency loan into cedis. So that actually affected our non-performing loan, increasing to about 19%.
Managing Director of Republic Bank Ghana PLC, Benjamin Jobuku. Now, finally, the Venture Capital Trust Fund is advancing plans to roll out a fund management development program aimed at unearthing the next generation of fund managers in Ghana. The program is in partnership with the National Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program to improve fund management space to propel the growth, especially among small and medium enterprises. Hamdia Ismaila is the General Manager of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, and she's been underscoring the need for the upcoming program to build a resilient fund management platform to assist equity fund managers.
Our work is very structured. We look for businesses that can go far, right? So we look for high growth businesses. So we were hoping that most of their business that benefit from them could come through our pipeline. But some of them are really just very small. And we look for companies that are really looking to expand and create jobs and things like that. But we still do have conversations together to see how we can collaborate. So when you come across anything that is good, we think it's bigger for you, you can send it our way, and we send them to our fund managers. Currently, we are working with NEIP to get an incubation space to incubate the next generation of fund managers. So we will be launching soon what we call the Fund Manager Development Program to train the next generation of fund managers so that we can have more managers to raise more. In fact, even if they raise more small monies to invest in these companies, just so that they can have time and grow the companies, it's enough.
Hamdia Ismaila is the General Manager of the Venture Capital Trust Fund. And that's it for City Business News on Eyewitness News, which was powered by your most comprehensive business website, citybusiness.com. My name is Nashika Caesar. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Bobo, so how's your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Pay attention, all my Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, plus my white brothers and sisters. What if I told y'all the most trusted real estate company in Ghana, Sukasa, would like to take y'all on a nationwide tour, highlighting prime real estate and investment opportunities. Sukasa builds affordable luxury homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Come get the real value for your money, plus they have very convenient payment policies with 100% guaranteed cash back. This fully gated or grandson communities include malls, cinemas, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. All you gotta do is sign up for the tour for a measly couple $1,000 $1,000 and come see what could be yours in real life. The African dream is alive. Contact Sukasa on 030-296-0865 or 055-369-7886 at Sukasa GH on all social media platforms. Email info@sukasa.com.gh. The Sukasa experience is also bringing on board a bunch of other property developers, which means patrons get a variety of options to buy from. This is powered by Government of Ghana, Beyond the Return Secretariat, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Works and Housing, Diaspora Affairs, the Office of the President, British High Commission, and the UK Chamber of Commerce. Sukasa, building on trust.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
First, let's state for the record that the MPP has 137 elected members of parliament, plus one independent candidate. This means that they don't actually need the NDC to form quorum and to start business. The Constitution in Article 102 is clear that you cannot commence the sitting of parliament unless you have one-third. One-third of 275 is 91.6. And since we don't have 0.6 of a human being, it is 92. So therefore, until you have 92 members of parliament, you cannot even pray. So in fact, the prayers we held today must be deleted. It is unconstitutional. You can't adopt the votes and proceedings. So clearly, our position is simple. The MPP should not expect the NDC to do government business for them. Whilst they sit in the comfort of their homes, draw on salaries, and then go to constituencies, use government vehicles and government fuel and campaign. We won't do that. So we urge them that in as much as they are persecuting our members, they should withdraw from the field and come and do business here. Since they have escalated the persecution of our colleague Honorable Kwesi, they should not expect cooperation from us. That is simple. We will not announce the strategy going forward. But all what we can assure you is that all options are on the table on a daily basis, and they should not expect cooperation from us. I won't go into the details, but let them be assured that amid persecution, cooperation will suffer. Nothing more, nothing less. And that is the position of the NDC minority. We are not going to compromise on that. They should come to the floor and do their business. We work for the interest of the people of Ghana. And let Ghanaians be aware that MPP do not have the moral right to talk about patriotism. If you are patriotic, in the middle of economic crisis, you won't behave the way you are behaving. In the middle of economic crisis, you won't abandon parliament and use state resources to campaign. In the middle of economic crisis, our vice president, who is the chair of the economic management team, has abandoned office and campaigning with over 100 MPP members of parliament and abandoning parliament. So let the public be aware, and let the public be aware that it's not the NDC members of parliament who don't want to do government business, but it's the MPP MPs. They have decided not to do government business. We have escalated our position.
All options are.
The first one was the first option, and that was the beginning. In the coming days, you will see more, and that's why I'm saying all options are on the table. I will not disclose the details to you, but let's wait and see. It is now cooking. First of all, be mindful of the constitutional provision that says that a member of parliament cannot absent himself for 15 days. The spirit of that provision is to get members of parliament to represent their constituents in the House. Now, the action of the Attorney General and the courts is virtually undermining the spirit of the constitutional provision that says that a member of parliament must be in parliament must not absent himself for more than 15 days. Do you know that the court asking him to absent himself for to be in court every day means that he will not be in parliament maybe for more than 15 days. So this is nothing but persecution. On the basis of that, we are saying we are not cooperating. The right of the member of parliament must be respected. Aside that, the people of Asenov deserve representation, and Honorable Kwesi must be allowed to represent his people in the spirit of the Constitution. On the basis of that.
KSL to forcing. Earlier you heard the minority chief whip, Gavin Kwame Agboja. It has to do with the decision of the court to continually or to hear James Jaji Kwesi's case every day. The minority side says they will not come to parliament to do any business at all. This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sandamado. That's what we are discussing tonight. And we're hearing from the NDC as a party in a bit. But before then, let's hear from the majority side in Parliament. The MP for Nsawama Dwejiri is a majority chief whip. He has been speaking on this matter in the House.
I think we have to put matters in proper context in terms of what happened today on the House floor. All of you witnessed what happened on the floor. Let me put on record that if you have monitored all parliament across the world, particularly the British Parliament, which we all emulate, at any material time T, in the exception of ceremonial times, it is not often the case that you have a full house. It is not often the case. And today, we have 3 committees sitting concurrently. The Committee on Subsidiary Legislation, the Committee on Local Government, the Public Accounts Committee, and the Finance Committee. All of them were sitting. So I think we shouldn't blow the matter out of proportion. But I'm proud about the members of the majority any time that it matters, that we need our numbers, we've been able to marshal our numbers. But I see the tactics our colleagues are adopting. They come to the chamber today, I saw many of them, and then they withdrew. If this is how they are going to serve Mother Ghana, the good people of this country will decide. Mark it anywhere. Tomorrow, pick the vote and proceedings, and you will see the number on their side that has signed in. But because they have planned with mischief that they'll raise quorum and come under 48 just to disrupt business. But they should realize that the Parliament of Ghana doesn't prosecute only government business. There are private businesses that are prosecuted. And when he sued them, they turn it to favor them. You know, they had come under 48-2, and yet their member, they never enforce it. Their member came to raise a matter of urgent public importance under 72. So you see that they are picking and choosing. On the matter of Dr. Bawumia, that is their own problem. I know they hold him in fear. That is their decision, but we'll leave it for another day. But we accept the challenge. But for me, we are very disappointed. We are extremely disappointed. They came in their numbers, and then when we had to prosecute the business of the House, they withdrew from the chamber. That is most unfortunate. And that is not how representatives of the people are supposed to behave. So we'll be looking at them. But they shouldn't say that they are boycotting Parliament and sneak and go and participate in committee meetings. That is weak position, and it's not a principal position. If they are boycotting Parliament, they should boycott Parliament in its totality. Then we'll know that they are boycotting Parliament, or we'll be taking them serious. So they should behave in a more principled position and stop this picking and choosing tactics. It's not going to help anybody. Are they members of Parliament? What is their role in the chamber? What is the role of the minority in the chamber? They are supposed to behave as representatives of their constituents. So if you tell me we should marshal our numbers as if the House is one-sided and the House is just minded to do only government business. No, we don't do only government business. Today, if you listen to what happened, what did we do? What private business? Statements that were delivered, they are all basically private business. We shouldn't accept that argument. It's a flawed and weak position to say that marshal your numbers. This is a house of the Republic, Parliament of the Republic, and it is made up of two sides. They should tell us why they are not participating in the public business. These are the questions you should be asking them. Why would they go for committee meetings and yet will not come to the chamber? Why would they come and take tea and sign and then they just withdraw? It's a crude tactics just to frustrate government business. But we are determined that now we are informed about their tactics, and so we'll be guided accordingly. Well, my answer to him is that they should show patriotism. And if they participate, since the dawn of independence, when we had Parliament, the minority do not participate in government business just for the majority. It's to serve the country. So it's a flawed argument. And ask the same question back to him. If it is patriotic, if he's been represented to represent the people of Ejumako, Esiam, is that what they told him to come and do in Parliament? These are fundamental questions we should be asking the minority. These meetings were scheduled ahead of time. Okay, we didn't schedule this meeting just on the spur of the moment. So, and there are resource persons who have been invited to make presentations. So we couldn't have stopped them. If you say, well, are we getting our numbers? As if we have not been getting our numbers. We've been getting, I refuse that propaganda. I refuse it in Jesus. We refuse it in Jesus' name. You know, our colleagues are just doing propaganda. Oh, get your numbers, get your numbers. No, we refuse it. I've told you, and you bear witness. All the time that it critically matters, we've lived to the billing. So it is not a problem. We will prove them wrong.
He's a majority chief whip. Speaking on the decision of the minority side, the NDC MPs, to boycott the sitting of Parliament in protest of the decision to prosecute 3 of their own. Former Works and Housing Minister, he was also Minister for Water Resources. He is MP for Esutifi South, Alhaji Collins Dauda. standing trial, being prosecuted over his role in the Saglemi housing project. Kezel Atuforsin, former Deputy Minister of Finance, Member of Parliament Ejuma Kwenyane CM, minority leader, being prosecuted for the role he played in the procurement of some ambulances into the country by the then Mahama government. And thirdly, former Asin North MP and current Asin North MP, James Jachi Kwesin, being prosecuted for allegedly lying on oath and also forging documents. For these three reasons, the NDC MPs decide that they will not be in the chamber to do business on days that these persons would be in court. You've heard from the two leaders of the House. Let's hear from the NDC as a party. Sami Jemfi is the National Communications Officer of the party. Mr. Jemfi, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thanks for having me, Sander.
First of all, how is your case in court proceeding?
So far, so good. We are on track. There's been a few hurdles, but that is part of litigation, particularly in criminal matters. And so the legal team of Honorable Kwesin are very focused on this matter and doing everything possible to vindicate the innocence of Honorable James Jachi Kwesin. And as we have indicated on public record, the re-elected MP enjoys the full support of the entire rank and file of the NDC, its leadership, and our abled 137 members of parliament.
This decision to boycott the House, is it a directive from your Adabraka head office? And if that's the case, is it specifically related to James Jachi Kwesin or is for the two other MPs as well?
First of all, the decision by the NDC Minority Caucus to boycott parliamentary proceedings anytime their colleagues have to appear before courts of competent jurisdiction for their prosecution was a decision that was made or taken by the caucus itself. It is not a directive from the leadership of the party. The caucus met, as we have been informed, to discuss what its response should be by the glaring attempts by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government to reduce their numbers in the House through frivolous, criminal persecutions, and to which end key members of the caucus. And it was after those discussions that the caucus decided unanimously to resort to boycotts, to protest the persecution of their colleagues by this despotic Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. And so that is a decision which was taken by the caucus. It was not an imposition from the party.
But you support it as a party?
Of course, yes. Our national chairman, our general secretary, and in fact the entire leadership of the National Democratic Congress have thrown our weight behind that decision because we think it is a great decision that is worth supporting.
What do you make of...
just to answer the second leg of your question, the boycott does not only relate to the prosecution of Honorable James Jachi Kwesin, the MP for Asenof, but also applies to the persecution of no less a person than the leader of the NDC Minority Caucus, Honorable Atuforsin, and the persecution of Honorable Collins Dauda as well.
All right. Now, and this is my last issue. The majority whip has said what you are doing, if you intended to frustrate government, then you must be mistaken because you are also frustrating private business. If the road in your village were to be constructed because something has to be done in Parliament for an agreement to be adopted, that agreement will not come to fruition because your colleagues or you have decided that you will not go to parliament. And I'm using you to mean NDC. What do you make of that? That you are shooting yourselves in the foot?
Well, he's entitled to his opinion, and NDC members of parliament are also entitled to theirs, and to take democratic steps within the, permissible under our parliamentary, system. And so we totally disagree with that because our members of parliament only resort to boycotts on dates or days that their colleagues have to appear before the courts. And they say, we will not allow our colleagues to face this persecution all by themselves. We will be in court to solidarize with them, and that is what they have been doing. Justice is important, and it is as important as development. But even to scrutinize, or if you like, analyze what the majority chief whip said, these boycotts, like I said, are only resorted to by the NDC minority caucus as and when their colleagues have to appear before courts. On days when there are no court proceedings, they are always present in parliament to do their work as members of parliament. And so if government has any policy proposals relative to the construction of roads and other developmental projects, as the majority whip, alluded to, there wouldn't be any problem at all because the members of parliament, our members of parliament are always in parliament on any other day to ensure that such laudable initiatives are approved.
So this would continue. Aluta continues essentially, even though there's a concern that they are flouting parliamentary rules by continually being absent. If that number of absent days...
flouting parliamentary rules, how?
That if they fail to be in the chamber for a number of days, they lose their seats. You're not scared.
Why are they crying more than they bereaved? They think we don't know of that. We are very much aware of that. And they should be happy that we are taking this risk. I don't know why they are worried that NDC members of parliament are likely to be absent from parliament for 15 continuous days and therefore stand the risk of losing their seats. They should leave us to worry about that.
Okay.
As to whether or not this strategy will continue is something that is a decision that lies entirely in the bosom of the leadership of the caucus. We are fighting an oppressor who is hell-bent on destroying our democracy, reducing our numbers in parliament, persecuting and suppressing dissent, harassing political opponents, and so on. And as Minority Chief Whip in a press statement today indicated, all options are now on the table, and we are committed to supporting our minority caucus as a party to do everything legitimate to ensure that the rights of these members of parliament who are being harassed and persecuted are defended and protected, and to ensure that justice prevails at the end of the day. And so we are leaving no stone unturned. The stress of members of parliament losing their seats after 15 continuous days, these stress don't move us at all, because what we are doing is in the interest of our constitution. It is in the interest of our democracy. We are mindful of all these legal issues, and you can be rest assured that we will never get to that stage.
All right.
But it is not for us to disclose or divulge our strategy related to some of these issues they are raising in the media.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Ami Jemfi's National Communications Officer of the NDC. That would be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. Production by Beverly Langdon and Sami Wiafi. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. Edwin Kwakofi handled the new media side of things. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Up next is a playback of Face to Face, a show that airs on Citi TV at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays, hosted by my good self. My guest last night, Alhaji Nusa Hussaini, you're going to listen to a number of the issues he's been responding to, including the incarceration of his son in the United States of America has been speaking about that publicly for the first time.